These are the cruelest execution methods in Warhammer 40k. Number 6. Spacing. How do you execute someone on a ship 1,000 light years from the nearest grave? Out of the deep void, you just open a door. Humanity's empire, the Imperium, spans the whole galaxy, and it is a brutal place to be alive. Its warships, the void ships that haul armies between the stars, run on crews of millions. Most of those crewmen are born aboard and die aboard without ever once setting foot on a planet in between. Discipline on board is total, and crossing a line rarely gets you a trial. For mutiny, for cowardice, or sometimes for nothing more than being in the way of an officer who outranks you, the sentence is the airlock. An airlock is a small sealed chamber with two doors, one into the ship and one into the void outside. They walk you in, the inner door seals behind you with a heavy clunk, and then, rather than running the slow, safe cycle the chamber was built for, someone overrides the safeties and opens the outer door straight onto the vacuum. The air around you leaves all at once, and it takes you with it. And the first second, your lungs empty, whether you want them to or not, so you can't even manage a proper scream. The spit on your tongue and the moisture on your eyes start to boil off in the vacuum, while the cold of space pulls the heat out of you from every direction at once. You stay awake for 10, maybe 15 seconds. That's long enough to understand exactly what's happening to you. Then you black out, and a minute or so later, your body finishes the job on its own and goes still. The reason this keeps happening over and over is that it costs nothing. No firing squad to assemble, no mess to mop up afterward. It's about as close as the Imperial Navy gets to a severance package. The Void does all the work for free, and by the time your body stops moving, the ship has already left you 1,000 miles behind. Number 5. The Master of Executions. Somewhere across the battlefield, a giant is walking towards you with an axe, and he has already decided your head is going on his wall. A Master of Executions is a Chaos Space Marine, one of the corrupted superhuman warriors who turned on the Imperium, and he belongs to Khorne. Khorne is a Chaos God, one of the 4 dark powers that live in the Warp, the hell dimension of raw psychic energy that runs alongside reality, and he's the god of blood and slaughter. His followers chant one line above the rest: blood for the Blood God, skulls for the Skull Throne. The Master of Executions exists to deliver both. He doesn't fight the way the rest of the army fights. While everyone else trades fire, he uses senses sharpened by the warp to pick a single target out of the chaos. The enemy's finest champion or their most beloved commander, and he walks straight at them. Some of these executioners gouge out one of their own eyes so the warp currents can gather in the empty socket and show them where their prey is hiding. It is a remarkable amount of effort just to find someone to kill, though nobody has ever accused Khorne's servants of taking the easy road. Once he reaches you, the rest is short. The axe comes down, your head comes away, and your skull becomes an offering to Khorne that makes his hunger for the next kill burn hotter. The grim part is what he does inside his own warband. When a Chaos Space Marine grows ambitious and tries to take a Chaos Lord's place, nobody quietly arranges an accident. His own brothers drag him into a blood-soaked arena and stand him in front of the Executioner for a duel he was never meant to win. Those fights are over fast. A clever Chaos Lord keeps one of these creatures close because nothing keeps the ranks honest like a headhunter on the payroll. He also learns to sleep lightly, since when the Executioner runs out of enemy champions to behead, the same axe that has been guarding the Lord slowly starts to turn in the Lord's direction. Number 4. Burning the Heretic. The Imperium loves fire. A flame kills the condemned and purifies the ground they were standing on in the same breath, which is exactly why they reach for it so often. The Adeptus Ministorum, the Imperium's official state church, teaches the God Emperor, the mortal ruler it worships as a god, is a kind of cleansing fire, and that anything corrupt can be made clean by burning it away. Acting on that belief falls to the Adepta Sororitas, the Sisters of Battle, an army of fanatically devout women who go to war armed with faith and fire. Their creed is 3 blunt orders: burn the heretic, kill the mutant, purge the unclean. A heretic, by the way, is anyone who steps outside the one accepted worship of the Emperor, which in a galaxy this paranoid is a category roomy enough to fit just about anyone having a bad week. When the sentence comes down, you don't get a clean death. You get bound somewhere the crowd can see you, and the fire is brought to you slowly and deliberately because the watching is part of the point. On the battlefield, the sisters do the same thing with flamers. weapons that hose out a wave of burning Promethean fuel, advancing on foot and washing the condemned in flame. Burning is one of the worst ways a body can die. You stay awake well into it. Your skin goes first, then every nerve underneath lights up at once, and you keep dragging heat and smoke into your lungs long after you would beg for it to stop. Shock and your own failing organs are what finally take you, and they take their time about it. To the sisters, every second of that is a hymn. To them, the screaming is simply the sound of the Emperor's work getting done. Once the fire burns down and there's nothing left but ash on the flagstones, the matter is considered settled. The soul was unclean. The flame answered, and the next name on the list is already being read out. Number 3, Exterminatus. What does the Imperium do with a world it has decided can't be saved? It executes the entire thing. When a planet is written off for good, given over to corruption, or overrun by aliens beyond any hope of retaking it, an Inquisitor, one of the Imperium's secret agents who carries the authority to condemn billions, can declare exterminatus. It's the order to scrub every living thing off the surface of a world. As one old Imperial text puts it, some may question your right to destroy 10 billion people, and those who understand know that you have no right to let them live, which is an ornate way of admitting the form was signed before anyone thought to ask. The cruelest way to carry it out is the virus bomb. It's packed with the Life Eater, a manufactured plague so hungry it consumes every kind of organic matter it touches. The plants, the animals, the people, right down to the bacteria in the soil. A fleet drops these bombs across the whole planet at once. Within minutes, everything alive begins to rot where it stands and run together into sludge. All that decay throws off enormous clouds of flammable gas, and then a warship in orbit fires down to the atmosphere and lights it, turning the entire sky into a firestorm that scours away whatever is left. If you happen to be down there, you feel your own body start coming apart while you're still inside it, and if the rot doesn't finish you, the firestorm that follows will. No shelter on the surface helps, and there is nowhere on the planet far enough to run. The Imperium has done this many times over. During its Great Civil War, a virus bombing killed the entire population of the world Istvan 3 billions of people in minutes. As recently as 273 M41 in the Imperial calendar, the hive world Stalinvost, a planet of towering hive cities packed with untold millions, was put to death the same way once an alien infestation took root inside it. One order, signed by one hand, and a world goes quiet. Number 2, Slaaneshi Ritual Sacrifice. The followers of Slaanesh turn killing into worship, and the slower and more public the killing, the holier they consider it. Slaanesh is another of the Chaos Gods, the one that feeds on sensation and excess pushed past every limit, and pain is the sharpest sensation there is. Putting somebody to death slowly in front of a roaring crowd, wringing every drop of spectacle and agony out of it, is an act of devotion to that god. The longer the dying takes and the more it's drawn out for an audience, the richer the offering becomes. Taken far enough, that kind of killing stops being an execution and starts tearing a hole in reality. That is exactly what happened on a world called Horvar 3. In 453 M40 of the Imperial calendar, the planet's governor staged the public execution of 666 condemned heretics and made it a grand show, all pageantry and excess. He had no idea that the way he had arranged the whole spectacle was, step by careful step, an ancient demonic ritual. As the last heretic died with a curse on his lips, the pattern was complete, and a gateway into the warp tore open above the crowd. He'd wanted an execution the whole planet would remember. On that one count, he delivered. Demons, the predatory entities that lived in that dimension, came pouring through into a mass of terrified citizens. Within hours, the whole world had become a playground of madness and slaughter. The governor himself was hollowed out and possessed by Lacidra, a demon prince of Slaanesh, one of the greatest demons that God can field, who wore the man's skin and forced the survivors to mutilate one another for its amusement. It took the Grey Knights, the Imperium's elite demon-hunting space marines, to bring it down, and they lost 20 of their own casting the thing back into the warp. The execution did its job. 666 people died on schedule. The crowd that came to watch died too, and so did the man who gave the order, because some killings are built to call something through. Number 1, Illuminor Xeras. Every method on this list has one thing in common. They all want you dead. Illuminor Xeras wants the opposite. He needs you alive, and he will keep you that way for as long as the work takes him. Xeras is a Necron, one of an ancient race that traded their flesh for undying metal bodies millions of years ago. Among his own kind, he's a cryptek, a sort of scientist priest, and his obsession is the secret of living things, the one thing the Necrons threw away when they abandoned their bodies and can never get back. He's convinced that secret can only be found inside the living and never inside the dead. So he needs a steady supply of breathing test subjects, and he gets them by selling his genius to other Necron lords in exchange for raids that bring him fresh captives. Above all, he prizes the Eldari, the ancient elf-like aliens, because their bodies give him the most interesting results of any creature in the galaxy. Being his favorite is comfortably the worst thing your species can be. Once you've been handed over, you're taken to the laboratory catacombs of Tomb World Zantragora, one of the buried planet fortresses the Necrons sleep inside. Banks of Necron machinery hold your body in stasis to keep you alive and fully aware through everything he does to you. And that same machinery does nothing whatsoever to dull the pain. He opens you up while your heart is still beating. He takes you apart a piece at a time to watch how the life inside you actually works, and every time your body tries to die and slip away from him, the stasis hauls you back to the edge and holds you there. You die when he decides he's finished, and not 1 second sooner. There is no mercy in it. His captives can look forward only to an existence that is pain-filled and, by all accounts, in no way brief. Your screaming means nothing to him. To Saras, a scream is one more piece of data. The lamps in the catacombs of Zantragora are still burning. There's always a fresh specimen strapped to the slab, kept breathing against its will, waiting for the cryptech to pick up his tools and begin again. Well, that's the list. 6 executions that make a clean death sound generous. Thanks for watching, and remember, somewhere out there, one of these already has your name on the paperwork. So hit subscribe, and we'll find out which one together.